Welcome everybody to bonus stuff. We just got done reviewing Mutiny on the Bounty from 1935. It was won the 8th Academy Awards award for Best Picture. And so I thought we'd do a little tournament of the greatest captains of all time.
My
So
God.
Captain Bligh didn't make the list because, well, he kind of had some trouble with his with his men. So here we go.
Captain Crunch.
We got Jared. Do you have your chance cubes?
I don't know. Hold on. Captain Planet's going up against himself? Or is the screen just...
Yeah, I gotta make the screen better.
Oh, I already know who's gonna win.
Oh, how come I can't move it? You already know who's gonna
Already
win?
know.
I've
Already
got
know.
one. I got it right here.
You know, it'd be easier if other people had chance cubes, Jared, and if they gave them to people. But whatever.
Huh?
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's not really coming up on mine, but as long as you guys can see it. So here are the captains in the tournament. Captain America, Steve Rogers. Captain Morgan, the guy on the rum bottle.
Does anyone even drink Captain Morgan here?
Let's say I know the name Captain Morgan, but I don't know who the heck that is.
I've been drinking Captain Morgan in a while.
Captain Hook from Peter Pan. Captain Han Solo from Star Wars. Captain Jack Sparrow. Look how tiny his words are. From the Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Crunch, the sugary cereal we all love.
Ooh.
Capitaine Cruche, as the French say.
Captain Planet, the guy who's going to save or turning pollution down to zero. And then Captain Kirk of Star Trek fame. So let's start with our first matchup. We got Captain America going up against Captain Morgan. What are your arguments for or against? Anyone feel very passionate about this matchup?
Hey, wait, hold on. Why do they have like seated numbers in this?
Because they're
Seeded
seeded.
numbers.
Like in like football or something.
Because I don't know. I put them down like that. I guess we can all do a vote too, right? Let's see.
I'm gonna go with Captain America on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
Yeah.
who Captain Morgan is. He can get out of here.
Dang.
Drop that guy off the ship.
It's a nasty drink.
So we're all going Captain America.
Put him on the dinghy.
Captain Morgan. I mean, I like rum cake. I'm not much of a drinker, but I'm sure there are Captain Morgan fans out there because they used to have commercials, right? So Captain America has won. So we go to our next matchup. Captain Han Solo versus Captain Hook. Captain Hook, known for chasing a little boy around for eternity. And Captain Han Solo, the best pilot in the galaxy. Also, he got promoted to general, so I don't know if that marks him down a little for you guys. But who you got in this one?
I mean, this is not fair. It's got to be Han Solo, right?
It's got to be Solo. Yeah.
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 Pretty easy.
Poor Hook is just outclassed there.
All right, poor Hook. Go home to Shmi.
Get on the dinghy.
So next, Captain Jack
Oh,
Sparrow.
this is hard.
This is hard. This is very hard.
It's a hard one.
This one hurts.
Which
Captain Crunch is one of the best sugar cereals.
Period.
they also have the peanut butter Captain Crunch, which is amazing.
Mm.
True.
Oh my God.
And they have oops, just crunch berries. Oh my God.
That's not that great.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's like that's like a blender of your mouth. Your mouth is just raw. After
no.
eating
It,
it.
and I
there's-
enjoy it.
There's
good hurt.
There's a comedian that says like the key components to Captain Crunch is crack cocaine and fiberglass. That's the main components of Captain Crunch. And the thing is, you still inhale the whole box.
Yeah,
like it's just
man, I haven't
it's
had that
good.
so
man.
long.
It's good. Hey, Jack Sparrow is not a very good captain. You have heard of him, but he tends to lose his ship a lot, and his crew
True.
doesn't really love him that much.
Captain
So,
Crunch
I'll go with Captain
budgetizes
Crunch.
people. So
I'm going
yeah.
with Crunch. Yeah.
I'm going Jack Sparrow because I don't trust Crunch. You see
Oh.
that man's face, and he's terrifying. I don't trust him in the slightest. He has too many children. Like Hook was going after one guy. He's going after all of the kids. I don't trust Crunch at all. Love his product, but no.
All right. So
What does crunchitizing mean, Captain?
Crunch wins 3-1. So next we go to Captain Planet versus Captain Kirk.
Kirk.
I
Just
don't
Kirk.
know what planet is. What is Captain Planet?
Oh,
So it was the
communist
show-
propaganda.
It was the show in the 90s where these kids, they all got these rings, and one was like fire and water.
One's heart.
One's heart. And we made fun of that kid. And when they put their rings together,
Did they summon him?
They summoned
Oh.
Captain Planet.
They didn't like combine into one person and
By
make it
our
Captain.
powers combined. Yeah.
He was kind of the silver green haired guy that flies around and he's like invincible and he beats up pollution.
Okay.
Jeff Goldblum and everybody else.
Don Cheadle had a funny skit being.
Yeah, where he
Captain
was Captain
Planet.
Planet.
Captain Planet.
Yeah. I'm
So are you going
I'm
for
Kirk as well? Yeah.
Kirk? Okay.
I don't
okay.
know. No green silver haired man.
Okay, so now it gets hard. Look at this. Captain America versus Han
The
Solo.
butt versus the chin.
I'm gonna go with Solo on this one.
I am gonna go.
I'm gonna go Solo because I only really like Chris Evans, Captain America. I don't really like him
Yeah,
in the
man, that's
comics.
what I'm going for here. Is like Evans versus
I
Ford.
I would go
Mhm.
Ford versus Evans.
They
but
both have their strengths, and
But I don't know Han Solo as a captain. I know him as a general.
yeah.
I just know him as a little boy surfing the stars. This is a hard
So-
one.
Yeah, Captain America. I love him even in the comics.
I love him.
I love him.
Han, I like
Slept it.
Han.
I think I'm
But
gonna go America
Han-
for this one.
Han was kind of messed up by the Disney
Yeah.
Star Wars because
But
you
do
had
we
the
count as that? Do we count that?
do
I'm gonna
we have-
strike mine and go with America.
Dang.
why? Okay, so
Because
here's-
Han Solo is not a captain to me. He's a general or just a scoundrel.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what I
why'd you
think
put-
of him.
Why'd you put 3?
'Cause
Oh, is there we
Joseph
going for
joined
Solo?
us.
I joined him. Solo, you had that movie Solo, and we learned out his last name's really lame. Uh,
Solo.
and then he gets killed in a really dumb way where if he was going to get killed, it should have been piloting the Falcon and like running into the Death Star or something like that.
Run of the eye.
A lot
wall
of people should have died
Galactus.
at different ways in that movie.
Yes. So I'm going to America. Okay, so our next semifinal, Captain Crunch
Oh
versus
no!
Captain Kirk. So two
Kirk.
delicious things.
I'm going Crunch. I like
Two-
Picard more.
Delicious golden creatures.
Both can crunchitize me anytime they want.
I got to go with Kirk.
Okay, we have. What did you go for, Jared?
Crunch.
French. Michael.
I don't.
Picard-
My only familiarity is Chris Pine's Kirk.
Oh.
That's
all I
true.
know.
So is he better than Crunch?
I feel like I trust Kirk more than Crunch. I'm going Kirk.
He does not trust.
I don't trust
Crunch,
Captain
man.
Crunch, man.
I'll go with Kirk as well. He's great. I love him in the old series. I love him in the movies. And Pine's okay as Kirk. The new Kirk on CBS is not very good.
Uh-oh.
So it's
Oh,
all
man.
come down to this: Captain America versus Captain Kirk. So Captain America or Captain Iowa? Who are we going?
I got to go with Kirk. The Trekkie in me will not let this stand.
I gotta go with America. Picard's a
America.
better captain anyway.
Oh,
Gotta go America because I don't know Kirk really.
dang it!
And
This
it's
is
Captain
tough.
America. Like it's Winter Soldier, and that suit he has is just that wins itself.
That's America's butt, dude.
That's it.
Also, he's in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and that's fun as heck.
So I guess it all comes down to me.
Mm,
But would you
Uh,
consider Captain America the title of Captain America and not just Chris Evans, Captain America.
What?
What?
As in the title of Captain America can also be shared with Sam and
Oh
Bucky
yeah.
and everything else
Oh.
like that. But there's
So-
only
We
a
haven't,
Captain
we haven't
Kirk.
really seen Sam's Captain America yet.
We don't need to either.
Yeah,
Just
we,
saying.
this is hard because they're both brilliant tacticians. We know that.
They both wear tight
Kirk has his own
clothing.
maneuver though.
Kirk does have. Kirk beat the unbeatable test.
You also beat the Gorn.
I'm
I
gonna go
don't
with.
feel like that's too hard for Captain America either.
I'll go with Kirk. So we need a tiebreaker, Jared.
Okay. Who's
what do you-
what?
So we'll do.
America's blue, duh.
Okay.
Yeah, America's blue. Kirk's
There's red in America too.
red.
Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Shaking.
Not stirred.
The chance cube.
It was
Can you
red.
point your camera to it?
Red.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, do
No.
it again. So we
I can't.
see-
2 out of
I
3.
can't.
2 out of 3.
I
2 out
can't
of
though.
3.
It doesn't go that far down.
Oh, okay.
Throw
2
it on
out
the
of
floor and
3.
let Luna get it.
All right, I'll shake it one more time.
So we add red.
Red again.
Damn.
Oh, so it's Kirk, right?
Yeah.
You
Kirk has won.
know it is. It is Captain Kirk.
The best captain of all time.
Hell yeah.
So if you guys are watching, leave us a comment, and if we forgot anyone,
Everyone's
tell
like, it
us.
should have been Crunch.
Yeah, tell us who it should have been, because we want to know. So let's go to. Oh, before we get to our homework, we had a
So
little.
we're calling it now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Just a little bit of news.
I have
Where-
news too that I found out today.
Okay.
Was it
Uh,
that living poo you just showed us?
No, it wasn't.
So a little bit of news. Did you guys see the Indiana Jones game?
I did.
Yes.
And what did you
Yeah.
think about it?
Looks gameplay wise,
Mm.
I'm questioning it because I'm like machine games, whip, I don't know. But I thought Troy Baker did a really good job kind of emulating his voice in a sense of his own style.
You just love Troy Baker.
I do love
That's
Troy Baker, you know
true.
that. But also I felt like there are points I was like he's not trying to full copy it, but he gives like tones of it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did
I
you ever play
appreciated
that one Indiana Jones game
No.
on the 64?
No.
No, only on the
I've
NES.
never played it.
It was hard.
Temple of Doom was hard.
I don't know. It looks all right. I'm not sold or like,
Not a fan of that IP anyways. So.
Dang.
just aggression right there.
I thought it looked good, but I'm hearing kind of some worrying things on the internet.
Like,
Basically, they say there's another protagonist. I just want to be Indiana Jones. I don't want like
Yeah,
a second.
yeah.
that's where they messed up with Dial of Destiny. Is they try to add another one. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing with Crystal Skull. Like, it just needs to be indie.
Yeah,
Let
I
it be
just,
indie.
I just want to be indie. So hopefully they hear us and they don't put another protagonist in it. Are you gonna get a Mary Jane situation?
in the movies, it makes sense. He's old, but in the
Or
game,
are we gonna get a Last of Us 2 thing where Indiana gets killed for
Probably.
by snakes. He's gonna be like,
He somehow gets killed, even
Just
though
a
it takes
pile of
place
snakes, and he's like,
takes place before Last Crusade. So here's some depressing news. I don't know if you guys were excited about Madam Web,
oh shoot.
but
What happened?
you could have been even more excited because it was supposed to be. It was supposed to take place in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe. But then they're like, oh no, we got to put in Tom Holland's. But then they're like, oh no, this takes place in the 90s, so we can't have it in Tom Holland's. So
No
basically,
Spider-Man.
it's still no Sony Spider-Man, which is just how hard is it just to make like an Andrew Garfield movie or something, man? That's very depressing, I thought. Tron 3 has started production. Just Jared Leto.
really.
Well, how happy can we be? Daft Punk's dead, so
That's true.
That's
They're gonna have to
true.
get the Chemical
Just bring him
Brothers
back
or
just for the
something.
one time.
they're gonna get Dead Mouse or something.
Dude, if Daft Punk came back, for that, I would be.
Dang.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, I
Dude, they come back
I wouldn't
just
even
for
care.
that.
I wouldn't even care about the movie, honestly.
I know.
we got a new album, guys.
I mean, Legacy, it's all about that soundtrack.
Jeez.
I mean, I love
So good.
I love that movie just because
Yeah.
that was a fun
a
movie
cool
to go
movie.
to.
That was
Yeah.
my favorite 3D movie.
That's the thing is that I think that was my first 3D movie too. It was just you only had that, and then you had the badass soundtrack that came with it. You're just like, man, this was cool.
Man,
And
I
when
used
they
to-
were on screen, and it was just like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Such a
I
cool
used to-
scene too.
I used to work out to that soundtrack.
I still do.
I don't know if it's workout music, but it's good.
Well,
It's a good soundtrack.
The remix one, the de-resed one, is like my weights one. Like
So a rumor has it Hayden Christensen is gonna play Shadow.
That's kind of cool. I'm
Sonic
not gonna lie.
3.
Interesting.
Perfect casting.
Who knows?
Interesting. We don't know till it's there. I mean,
Just
we didn't,
Shadow
know about,
saying,
we didn't know about Ben Schwartz until like we saw him on screen. Like, oh, that's pretty good.
just Shadow saying, I hate sand, gets everywhere.
Just scream, I hate you.
Liar!
That'd be funny as heck. Shadow, I got the high ground.
He just shoots him.
High ground there.
I hate you and I hate your chili dog. There was also a rumor that there's going to be a spin-off Shadow movie, which doesn't really surprise me. but
Joseph, your dreams do come true.
I
My
hate
God.
Shadow, man.
He's so edgy.
The
Do you
panic.
remember, do
Oh,
you
go
remember Joe back in
Yeah.
GFW? That was his favorite character.
Yeah, because he's cool.
And he
That's like
apparently,
Chaos control, my guy.
No.
apparently he used to draw Shadow like when he was like a teenager.
That's a bit much, but
I was like, wow, you are weaving up pretty hard there, dude.
he's one of those fans.
Yeah,
That's
one
like
of those fans.
People who think Venom's cool.
Oh, I love Venom. I love
No,
the evil version of the main character.
not Reverse Flash. He's the best
about-
one, and you hate him.
Superman, Bizarro Superman.
No, he's
He's
terrible.
not evil. He's just misunderstood.
Negaduck.
Negative.
Oh, Negaduck's awesome.
Yeah.
Jared, Reverse Flash is the best evil version of a hero. And
And he's good. He's not the best. He's
Dude, the Cyber Rangers from Power Rangers in Space, best villains ever. So,
I mean, I have to
Ever?
just believe you
You're
on
gonna
that.
put ever on that tab.
Ever?
on for Power Rangers.
Oh, okay.
Power
That's a
Ranger.
better,
Oh,
that's a
Sorry.
better limiter there.
Sorry. No. 1998 Power Ranger
He's-
villain, best villain ever.
He's just like better than Darth Vader. Better than...
They got the Cyber Rangers over here. Or sorry,
Remember
Psycho,
when they-
Psycho Rangers. Psycho
Remember
Rangers.
when they introduced Zed and they're like, dang, that guy is pretty edgy, man.
Dude, well, like somebody I watch is like, he's basically a Silent Hill villain. I'm like, yeah, kind of. In that first season, yeah, he's pretty creepy.
And then he got all goofy.
And then he got goofy, yeah.
He like married what's her name.
We like toned down the evil for like the kids. So he's like, no.
he's a flesh man.
Well, his brain is open. You see his brain.
Oh, is that cool dude with the bladed
Silver?
like?
Yes.
Yeah.
That guy's
Yeah.
cool.
Lord
That
Zed
guy's
is
cool.
freaking awesome.
He was cool, and then later
Then he got,
on he got
well, then he
kicked off.
like slapstick. He's like,
I don't know
Yeah.
crap about Power Rangers, but that guy is cool.
So the panic police were out, and so this is what I call these people who like hate everything. So everyone's
Us?
loving Pal World,
Yeah, of
like the big game right now.
course,
But-
my work can't shut up about it.
But people, a certain kind of people are mad at it because they say that enslaving animals isn't cool.
It's
Um,
just Pokemon.
I know. But the same people have trouble with Pokemon, have trouble with this. And of course, there were some people angry that J.K. Rowling is going to be involved with the Hogwarts show.
They're gonna say Power World. I was like, how? Why?
Which makes no sense because you would think they'd be happy that the author is back to work on the actual show, but they're not happy.
No. Never happy.
so when talking about, I guess, animal cruelty or whatever,
What'd
apparently,
you
no, not me.
do?
Well, I mean, I did do this, but so apparently,
Clip that.
apparently Ari's playing Assassin's Creed 4, I believe. I think it's either her or her and Johnny. But I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna go whaling because you can go whale for like a massive amount of resource. She's like, why would you do that? I'm just like, for resources,
For
right? She's like,
oil.
I know. I'm just like,
Ambergrease.
it's like one of the
Gotta get
best
the white
parts. She's
one.
like, I don't want to kill a whale. I'm just like, I mean, I guess you can't have to, but
That
a
one's
lot of
black.
resources.
That one's Black Flag, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's my
So I was
One of my
watching a
favorite
video from Nerdrotic right before we recorded, and he had some crazy rumors about Rings of Power season 2.
Oh, Michael.
Oh no.
And one of the craziest I heard was, the big bad in Lord of the Rings, Melkor.
Melchor.
Yeah.
Oh,
So apparently, him and the ancient giant spider, which I don't remember her name, something. They're gonna introduce a storyline where they're reincarnated as
Oh,
Tom
boy.
Bombadil
Oh my.
and his wife.
Oh my.
They're not dead. Melchor's not dead.
This is like them
He's-
turning Nagini
that's
into a woman.
amazing.
He's not dead.
You remember Tom Bombadil, the lovely man you all love, is coming back for vengeance for not being in the movie.
Yeah, Tom
I don't know-
Bombadil, like the
You know why he
coolest-
doesn't care about the ring? Because he's the ultimate evil.
I did like the theory where Bombadil was like the god of the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a cool theory. But apparently I had it the opposite, so
Yeah,
I can't wait
he's
for
the
this.
devil.
It's like, oh, you like this charming like woodland? Guess what? He's Satan.
All right, so homework. Who wants to go first?
On my news, piece of news.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
News.
It's very shocked about it. It's very confused because I can't find a reason why. But the new companion, the brand new companion that has been in one episode of Doctor
Oh
Who,
yeah.
has been written out after next season. Well, is only in one season, then she was written out, and I cannot find a reason why. And I was like,
Apparently, both of them didn't know what they're doing after the one season. So I guess they already recasted her
Mm.
from one of the girls
From
from
Andor?
Andor.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I guess they're keeping the Doctor, but
yeah, it's like, what do we do with Doctor Who people? What the heck are we doing with Doctor Who?
Disney, man. This is
Don't
what
care.
happened with
No one
Disney.
cares.
I
I
mean,
mean,
Michael,
stuff.
we had that discussion.
it's-
like after Moffat, we're like,
Doctor Who's done nothing for 10 years, but except for the Flux. Flux is good. Apart from that,
Like the Flux.
Yeah.
At least the person didn't get
Sad.
canceled.
very sad. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, I still don't really see they haven't given like a clear reason why.
Oh, I thought it was
Because apparently she was 3 episodes into the next season, and then they wrote her out. Is what I read.
Mm.
Russell T Davis had
Oh.
3 episodes of her in it, and then they wrote her out. And I was like,
that's
I don't understand.
that's concerning.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Of course, with
Isn't
how politically correct the show was for the specials, I'm like, I don't know where that led. That could very well be a cancelization, but we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or maybe
Isn't
not.
it like the companion's supposed to be a really important part
Yeah.
of Doctor Who? Because that's
Massively
kind of
important part.
the human character
Yeah,
for,
that's
or
what-
the
that's
point
what-
of view character.
Kind of
Yeah.
shapes the character of the Doctor, to be honest with you.
100%. Yeah.
So we're
We'll
just gonna
see.
switch in the middle.
Yeah. Cross
But
it
yeah,
over.
honestly, I could do a whole podcast about the companions, but I just, we'll leave that.
So-
Save it
was-
for another day.
Who was Eccleston's companion? Because I don't remember.
Rose.
Billy
Mm.
Billy Piper, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Which-
even remember.
One of my favorite companions, honestly.
She's great.
It
Anyway,
was hilarious.
that's all I had.
All right. Do you want to do your homework first?
Sure. I only have the one thing I did. I finished Patrick Stewart's book,
Oh, yeah.
and then I didn't watch anything else. I have been watching Parks and Recreation, but I haven't been talking about that. But yeah, anyway, so Making It So. I was reading the name here, but that's not his name. Patrick Stewart's memoir, finished it. So he got, from the last time we were at, he was starting his world tour. So then he got off that, and then he got into what his dream was to be in the, oh good lord, I don't remember, the Royal British
Royal Shakespeare Company.
Royal Shakespeare Company. Thank you. There's a lot of names, and I listened to that book in like 2 days to finish it. So he got into that, and then did that for a very long time. And then, of course, got
Is that-
into what?
Is that where he met Sir Ian McKellen?
They actually only worked with each other once or twice before X-Men. They didn't really know.
Was-
Or no,
was
they
Sir-
didn't know each other. X-Men and that.
Was Sir Derek Jacobi in there by chance?
I don't recognize that name. Maybe he threw off a lot of names going through it, but I just put in a few. Like I did the funny anecdotes that from last time that kind of go through it, but it jumped through. Him. Okay, we'll do these real fast. So one of the funny stories I thought was in there is there was a girl who was with him in I think it might have been the Royal Shakespeare Company, or maybe it was before that. I think it was the World Tour one actually. Anyway, she was dating Paul McCartney at the time, and of course, and Patrick Stewart mentioned several times how he's like, remember, I only really liked classical music at this point. I didn't know who these people were. And so he, the day before, they've been talking about things they would do if they won $1 million. And he just mentioned that, I'd buy this Aston Martin car, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the next day after their performance, a knock comes on his dressing room door, and Paul McCartney goes in and tosses him the keys to his Aston Martin. He's like, you're going to drive us around tonight. So he drove Paul McCartney and his girlfriend, and they still have a relationship today. They've seen each other several times. Yeah, and hang out. Then fast forwarding really far to where him and his wife, now Sunny, during COVID, it was kind of weird hearing him talk about the stories of them doing, because he read a bunch of Shakespeare's things throughout, every day throughout COVID. He did 153, whatever I don't know what they are.
Sonnets.
Yeah, I realized I know nothing about Shakespeare and I need to learn. But so he did that, and there's several things he did, like a pizza slice, because he put a comment on a tweet saying, "Oh, my first slice of pizza," but it was like,
I remember that.
It was like New York pizza, and she taught him that you need to fold it. So everyone freaked out, thinking it was his first slice of pizza ever.
I remember when that happened.
So there's a bunch of those goofy.
I liked his beans on toast review. That was hilarious.
Yeah, true. So it was weird, hearing things that I remembered, apart from the rest of his life story that I was just learning for the first time. Then a very amusing Dune introduction. So he got the part for Dune because the director David Finch saw what at the time was a scrawny man with a wig on. What?
David Lynch.
Why did I say Finch? David Lynch.
David Finch.
Finch. Birds. Anyway.
Fincher.
I thought Lynch directed it. The whole time you said that.
David Lynch. Yeah. Anyway, and so he saw backstage after one of Patrick Stewart's performances, he saw him walk off, and he was in this wig of raggedy hair, scrawny, kind of looked bony. You think of Mad Max. And so he asked his assistant to find out who his name was, or what his name was. Fast forward later on to where he's directing the movie, and he's like, "Hey, well, did you ever get that guy's name from that play that we were in?" He's like, "Oh yeah, Patrick Stewart." He's like, "I want him for this part." So Patrick Stewart gets out there, he walks in, and the moment David Lynch sees him, he's just staring. He's like he didn't say anything, and so Patrick Stewart's kind of panicking. He's like, "I'm not supposed to be here. What is going on?" Then the guy comes in that knows him. He's like, "Hey, Patrick, so good to see you." And so he goes on forever, not realizing that David Lynch wasn't happy with how he looked in the movie at all, because he wanted this raggedy, long-haired man. Didn't realize he was bald. I mean, I'm still why not put a wig on him? So the whole time, David Lynch was super kind of upset about it, and I guess he kind of warmed up a little bit, but never really got over.
Brought
the
me
fact
Charles
that
Xavier.
They didn't want him on there. And funnily
I
enough,
just see. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I just see David. I just see David Lynch just sitting there smoking. I don't like this.
I thought he had hair.
So it passes on to the same thing. Basically, the creator of Star Trek never liked Patrick Stewart in it. Ever wanted him to be Picard.
Oh,
or whatever.
Roddenberry.
Yeah, and so I guess a kind of similar story. Way later on, they kind of started going to lunches and everything, but still, he was it was still uncomfortable. We never felt like we were in the same thing, and he was like, "I understand, I'm the character you created, but it's not how you wanted him to be and everything." But I was like, what is with his bad luck and the big things of not getting along with the creators of what he's working on?
Dude, the creation of Next Gen it's nuts. It's a miracle that show even lasted a season.
Yeah,
Roddenberry wasn't easy on that set.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he had so many other visions for it, and people are like, "You can't do this on TV anymore. It's just weird." He's like, "No, I want this. I don't." Okay, to put it in. Okay, so he did not like when people argued on the show.
Mhm.
He's like,
Yeah.
"No, humanity is humanity has evolved beyond like
Oh, wow.
confrontation.
He didn't
They're
want
like-
conflict at all.
Yeah, and they're like,
That's not a show.
Yeah, well, no, that's what they said. Like, dude, we cannot write a show like that. That is boring. It's crazy.
Goodness. But yeah, so
Apparently, Roddenberry also tried to stick him with the wig for like the pilot.
yeah, he had them when he came back. He was like, "Bring a wig this time" or something like that.
Yeah.
But then also on the Dune set, 'cause I didn't realize Sting was in Dune,
Yeah,
and
Plays Austin Butler's character.
oh, okay, and so
very naked.
very
Wears
naked.
like a diaper.
It's a great reveal.
God. But that
I'm
was,
not joking. That's what he does.
that was another musician that he had no idea who he was talking to, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's Sting, it's Sting," and he was like, "Oh, you're a bassist." And he was like, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm a bassist for the police band." He's like, "Oh, so you're in the police and they have a band and you're the bassist for them." I had no idea who the heck Sting was. It's like,
Dude, I can only imagine that pissed him off beyond all like imagining.
he's just like, "Remember, I liked classical music. That was it." I thought those were, and then this one. So there's several stories he tells going throughout the book about kind of paranormal things happening. Like there's a paintings in this teacher's house when he's super young that he would see mist in eventually or occasionally that wasn't there, and they kind of talked about it. She's like, "Oh yeah, that's something that's happened. Only a few people can actually see it," and then just a few kind of things like that. But then he ends up buying this house in California, and he said, it's like tropey haunted house stuff. Like he said, there were cold spots in it. There were points where he wouldn't want to turn around because he was almost certain someone was behind him. And he said one day,
Are you there, ghost?
Yeah. Get out of here. But
She walks in silent beauty.
he came home one day and his son was staying there.
You talking metaphor?
But his son was staying there and he came home and his son was like completely freaked out. Like his adult son, his son had grown up and everything, was freaked out, so that he was in the sitting room, whatever, and all of the books just started shooting off the shelves. And like they were still on the floor when he got back and everything. And he said he left and he knew when Patrick Stewart was going to be back, so he timed the thing so he wasn't at the house alone anymore. So all that happened, and then Patrick Stewart ends up running into the people that he bought the house from. And like he said, it was the most uncomfortable thing ever because they were obviously trying to get away from me as fast as possible. He was like, I don't know what they were hiding, but they did not want to talk to me. They didn't want to hear anything but the house. So he ends up selling the house and didn't mention a thing. I guess it's California law. You're supposed to put that in there, but he didn't put it in. And years later, he runs into the people that bought the house and they're just having a friendly chat, whatever. And she goes, "So you didn't mention about the other things that came with the house." And he's like, "What other things?" And she like explained it and all. And so I guess apparently at one point she got so pissed at the house, went on the balcony and screamed, "Whoever you are, get the F out of here." And he was like, and she never had a problem after that. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Scared the ghost.
I was like, I want to go to this house now, but
the ghost like, "Oh, sorry. Oh,
yeah. My bad. My apologies. But yeah, so it was interesting. So speaking of Kirk before in our little showdown, I've been very tempted to actually start the Star Trek series. I've been tempted. Although
Where?
it does,
The original?
yeah, it's like started from the beginning and watching them all, but just because of all the stories he goes through and just like all the people he mentions and talks about, like there's a story because he comes from like serious Shakespeare, and he gets on this set and everyone's goofing off, and he said he was such a serious guy that he at one point said just like called him out, like, we need to give a whole speech. We need to stop goofing off. This is the director's time. We need to give them our moments, everything. And they all just started making fun of him. He's like, guy, they're like, "Patrick, we're just having a bit of fun." He's like, "This is not for fun." Like yelled at them all. And so they all pull his leg from that on. But
and then what's his name does the Riker maneuvers
No.
over the chair.
Yeah, freaks, yeah.
but yes, it very much got me into like, I'm like, oh, I'm tempted to
Okay.
start it. So it's on
If
Pluto, I think. The original
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
If you watch Next Gen, I'll watch it with you.
yeah,
Shatner's actually Shakespearean trained too.
Interesting.
so if you're gonna watch like Star Trek, I would start with the original series because
Yeah, I want to
like,
watch it in order.
well,
Yeah.
the thing is, it's not necessary, but you'll appreciate Next Gen so much more. Like
Yeah.
just from the leap in quality and like stories. Fair warning, Next Gen 1 and 2, season 1 and 2.
Yeah, he
It's rough.
mentions that.
It's
He was like, we didn't get our
rough.
stride till 3.
Yeah,
Yes, that is exactly it. It
One is
rough.
very, like
you almost
sexy.
yeah.
yeah.
All they
Oh,
care
he
about.
mentioned
all
that.
the-
He said,
all they care
he
about
said
is
like
sex.
the second episode, it's just all this crazy. He was like, I don't know. What
Yeah.
They run into these people who are too busy having sex to realize that the air is running out of the room.
God, I
But
wish
the
I was in that
original
room.
series, man, after like 3 episodes, it starts running.
It's
So
nuts.
It's pretty great.
But yeah, it's
yeah,
I thought I would tease and I'm tempted about that. And then he did it was interesting him talking about Picard, like them, because he was done with Star Trek, completely done. He didn't want any part of it. And they brought it and they like basically begged him to have a meeting and he wasn't gonna do it. And then we ended up going and he laid down 3 ground rules. He was like, I don't want a recast or I don't want a reunion of everyone. And they ended up having a bit
Mhm.
apparently in the end. And he was like, I don't want to wear the suit anymore. I want normal clothes for Picard.
Mhm.
And then I can't remember what the third one was, but and then he
yeah.
Oh,
He
he said,
didn't
he said
want-
I only wanted 3 seasons. He's like, I'm doing no more than 3 seasons for the show.
Gets
Yeah.
on his dog.
And that did not work for the first 2 seasons. So
Really?
they brought everyone back.
Oh,
and
yeah,
made
that's what
it
he-
better.
that's
The
he
third
said.
season of Picard is actually
It's
pretty good.
really good.
like it's surprising how good it is, honestly.
Yeah.
But then
That was probably my favorite show of last year.
nice.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the Star Trek talk, he teased that he's pitching a movie for Picard. The
Yeah.
universe. I was like, interesting. So he wants
For
to kind of like
Star
send it
Trek
out
or
for Picard.
Picard.
Oh.
Because he pitched the last what he wanted to be the last. He's like now for all you Picard fans, this is my fault. He's like there was supposed to be a different ending to that season that he lays out and kind of like intertwines his life with Picard's life and just like how they grew together and everything like that. But they couldn't shoot. He called a wrap. He was like, we'll come back and shoot this later on. Just call me. And technically, it's like both our faults because they never called him to shoot that final scene that they wanted to do. And so he wants to kind of like actually lay rest in a movie to him. I don't know. But very interesting stuff. Then the book definitely takes darker turns because he mentions because he's with his current wife, Sunny, and he mentions, 2 wives before that. But he never says anything about it. I'm like, okay, so they pass away, they get divorced. What happened? Come to find wife number 1, he meets someone on Star Trek, has an affair with her. She's living in London. They've been apart. He knew they were growing apart for a while. But this is where I started getting really uncomfortable with the book because I'm like, he's not showing a lot of remorse. And it was really putting me off. And I started like seriously getting uncomfortable at work listening to this because he's talking about how she came and he apologized. And he just kind of rushed through this when throughout the rest of the book, he had been so open about his decisions and wondering if he'd make the right choices and everything and just really contemplating everything. This, he was rushing through so much. I was like, what is going on? Then it hit wife number 2, only been married 3 years, has another affair. I was like, what the heck? Like he talked about how he was sorry, but he did it again and puts himself in this position. But he was speeding through it, just kind of telling the story rather than getting involved in it. And then it finally hits the point where like, I was like, man, I love this book, but I'm so uncomfortable with like, seeing him this way. And that's such a touchy subject or like, I don't know. I when it comes to cheating like that, like that's such a immediate no for me. Like that's such a wall that or a line you should not cross ever. And so it finally hit the point where he gets done with it and he just he said it was just simple, but it was enough for me where he was like those are the greatest regrets of my life without question. Because he never really talked about regret. I mean, he talked about making different choices and everything, but he never talked about regret. And he was like, those 2 are the number 1 without question greatest regrets. I was like, okay, thank goodness. Because I was like, I'm not getting a lot of stuff. So I feel like it was really the pain and he didn't want to talk about it, but he put it in there because he knew he had to. And then eventually he just like kind of end capped it with greatest regret. And I was like, man, that must really, really eat him up. It from how I listened or not read it, but listened to it from how he was talking. But yeah, it was a weird few chapters there for a while where I was like, what is going on? Like, why is he not addressing this and talking more about it? But
Well, like from what I remember, his son, who's like from his first marriage, was apparently not talking to him for a while.
it's
he
a
didn't
daughter
ch-
actually.
Was his daughter?
Yeah, the son. He talks about how still it's like that's literally how he closes the book partially is he talks about how the relationship with them is still a struggle daily because his daughter cut him off. She's like, I'm done with you. I don't know where they are now, but his son worked with him on the a few
On Star
things
Trek, yeah.
that and then also the play with he did the Scrooge solo man play for a while,
Mhm.
which sounded really cool. And then he
Yeah,
actually
the
had some of the
what do you call it? The Christmas Carol.
yeah,
I had a live recording of him for a long time
nice.
of the one man show, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, they had like a clip of it at the end of the book, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, and then so that was an interesting, like, just kind of where he's leaving off because he's still around. It is obviously from his perspective. He talks about the relationships he has, but then he closes the book super, super, super sadly because his brother Trevor, he actually had two brothers, which he never touched on his other brother again uh, since probably chapter 5. Honestly, he was older than them. I can't remember if it was from different. Oh, it was from like way earlier on. He's much older than, but he never touched on him. But his brother Trevor, who he's really close with always, he talks about how he ended up having to go back and like say goodbye to him as he's passing away and everything. And then like just like that kind of like moment of the two brothers have been so close forever. Like they had kind of been the protectors of his mom and everything, just like their relationship always being strong. And then he like ends the book talking about, he's like, and of course you hit that point where your own brother dies. You really, really, really think about your own mortality. He's like, but I'm not going anywhere right now. He's like, I still want to do all this. Like, I want a comedy. He wants to be in a comedy sitcom. He wants me to leave it that. So it was a really emotional ending, but super, super definitely recommend this book. 100%. I know I went on for a while, but I wanted to dive into just how much he talked about it. But
I just downloaded
it's
it.
super good, man. It's so good. But yeah, that there's just that one weird point where I'm like, what's happening? Why is he not addressing it? I'm uncomfortable. Please help. But understandably so, of course, he's sharing all of his mistakes and everything like that. So, but excellent book. Definitely recommend. But yeah, that's all I got though.
Michael's going to be talking to us about classes of Starship.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe I'll do
What's
like
your favorite,
a
guys?
classic, like only like 1 or 2 episodes a week and really drag it out.
Well, I mean, the classic ones are short though.
Are they?
There's only 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But there's lots of episodes.
Yeah, because that's
but
what he's like.
still.
He's like next generation. He's like, we did 7 seasons of 20 something episodes. I'm like, it's supernatural all over again.
And 4 movies. So
Yeah,
and the Picard series. So, but
it's a lot.
so
What?
do you know what character he plays in Dune, Michael?
I don't really remember doing it to know any of the characters for the main 2 people.
He plays Josh Brolin's character.
Okay.
And but in David Finch's, I'm sorry, God dang it, got me.
You don't know either.
God dang it.
it.
David Lynch's version, he has a tiny pug that he carries with him in battle. It's very odd.
As one does.
But he's like, "For the Duke!" And like, ah!
Get that dog away from me.
I know you were a David Finch fan.
David Finch. Who wants to go next?
I can go next. I didn't watch hardly anything, just YouTube. So I started off with a YouTuber again. Some of these names, Davey Gunface. I like his videos. It started off with an incredibly short video detailing Pokédex war crimes. So he goes throughout the Pokédex and he says which one would commit war crimes because some of the entries are crazy and some are world ending and some fall under the war crime. And then he has another video. It's a brief retrospective on RPG Maker games. So if you ever heard of like Lisa the Joyful game or its prequel, he talks about those, and then Hylic, if you know that game, talks about that game as well. It was a really interesting video. And then he had another one, all the OSHA violations that Aperture would do if they're a real company. That was pretty funny. And then I watched David J. Bradley's video, The Dark Truth About Peanuts, and he just goes over
That they
how
shouldn't be dessert.
the comic strip.
Oh,
And he just goes over the characters and stuff like that, and how they're basically in a limbo because they've been kids forever. They in the beginning they were younger and they have aged like a couple years, but then they just stopped there. I I didn't know Snoopy started off completely different. He was like on 4 legs and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
he looked completely different. Didn't have that giant nose.
He was a beagle.
He wasn't a beagle in the beginning.
Was he not?
No, in the beginning he says he's not a beagle, but then later on,
I
he,
am
Distinctly
not a
says he's
beagle.
not.
Yeah,
a
he-
beagle.
He looked more beagle-like than the newer ones.
he became the thing he hated, Joseph. And then I watched K Bash's video, Bomberman's bizarre 3D game design. He just talks about all the 3D Bomberman games. Man, those are so good. And he just talked about them and how they are good,
Even
but they're
the
kind
one
of
on Xbox.
no one likes that one. Just talks about the weird decisions they made going to 3D. And then I watched a guy called Silvery. He had a video called MIPS, Super Mario 64's unsung hero or star. So the bunny in the basement of the castle is named after the MIPS chip in the actual 64. It does all the processing and stuff like that. And
That's no hero. Steals your hat.
no, that's the he doesn't steal the hat, does he?
Yeah, he takes your hat when you're down there, and you have to.
I thought it was the monkeys on the certain levels.
Blaming the monkeys. Jeez.
The monkey does. Too.
But then later, he had there's a mystery like why the bunny's even in there. Apparently, in like one of the gaming magazines, it tells you that it's Peach's pet. And then later on in the video, it shows that that he was a big part of the speed runs. You could use him to glitch through a big portion of the levels and stuff like that. So you could originally speed runs you would need like I think it was like 16 stars, but with like the MIPS clip, you don't really need like 4 or 5. So it shaved off a huge amount of time in those speed runs.
How do people figure this out? It breaks my brain. I don't understand.
The only,
Those are some great videos. There's the guys that cover like speed runs, and it's just like it stresses you out. You're like, oh my god, is it gonna do it? How did they figure this out? It's crazy.
the only exploit I've ever used, like legitimate exploit, besides like mods or whatever, was in Fallout 3, where I wanted to get a suit of power armor at the very beginning. I watched the YouTube video, say go into this one corner and you can go in, and I did it. I was like, oh my god! But how did the people figure this out? Like, this is so weird.
It's just like when we would play like Halo, I try to get the tank wherever I could, like even where
That
it
is true.
shouldn't be. And then I watched the video. It was a short video, but it was very interesting by Big and Blue. He had a video called "What was the first Shonen Jump manga to become an anime?" And it was a manga called "The Ideal Boys Gang Leader." So it was about a hooligan who wanted to be the best gang leader.
You and your hooligans.
I want to read this so bad. Dude. It looks so good. But that's all I watched this time. I didn't watch much because I've been going through the mainline Kirby games. I'm just going one at a time.
You and your Kirby love.
There one video I did watch, but I've mentioned them before, is Red Letter Media. They had the second part of the Star Trek trivia game between Rich and Mike. Every time I watch that, I'm like, man, we need a Star Trek podcast.
Hell yeah.
But that's all I watched. Who wants to go next?
Who's left?
You and Thomas?
Me and you.
Go ahead, Thomas.
Tum. I'm a navigational.
Tommy Two Tone.
Yeah, Tommy Two Tone. It's me. So kind of some random movie watching. I finally watched Encanto for the first time.
What'd you think of that, Grandma?
Okay, so I like the songs in this. They're fairly good. I didn't like the story. Like,
Yeah.
it just,
Dude, that Bruno song gets stuck in your head.
dude. Okay, when I remember when this came out, I was working as an installer for like AV, and one of our big clients was like a elementary school, and I'm not kidding, every classroom was playing that song. I was like, God, just make them stop. It's not that good. But overall, it was all right. I didn't like the story, like the ending. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't really understand what went wrong in the first place. And anyway, but the singing was very good. I'll give it that. So apparently that was from Colombia, I believe is where they're from. So I had to represent, my part of the family, and I rewatched Coco, which is amazing.
You watch Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah. But Coco is amazing, and that's just basically an extension of my family, and probably y'all's is too, if I had to guess. It hits.
We didn't make no shoes.
Well, I mean, no shoes, but I definitely had my Walita like forcing tamales down my throat, and probably is one of the reasons why I'm a chunky boy. So
Blame the grandma.
I will blame the grandma.
I don't think it was the tamales, Thomas. I think it was that like 3 pounds of rice you ate that one day.
Okay, that was my own fault. All right. Well, you forgot the beans with it too, by the way. But yeah, Coco's great. I love that movie. I think that's a movie everybody should watch. Did I rewatch Top Gear for some reason? Maverick.
Oh,
Sorry,
Top
I had to,
Gun?
like
Top Gun.
sorry, no Top
I was
Gun.
like-
It's like the
Top
show?
You're watching
Top
all
Gun.
of Top Gear?
How?
Sorry, Top
Are there
Gun.
like 500 seasons of that?
We'll get to that. Top Gun Maverick, and man, that movie's great. We said it all when we reviewed it, so I'm not going to spend much time on it. But man, like I was watching it when I was working out. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I can be the best. So moving on to some TV shows. I watched an anime actually all the way through. It's called I Was Banished. What?
Go ahead. I'll do it after your turn.
It's called I Was Banished from the Heroes Party. So I can't remember the whole name of the title. It's like I was banished from the Heroes Party, so now I live in the
Solo
country.
leveling? Oh,
So now I live in that's a different one. But,
yeah.
now I live in the countryside, and it's just about this guy who was in like a D&D party, but they're like, you're not very good, and so they kick him out. But turns out he had like all the diplomatic skills and all the investigation skills. So they're like, why is this so hard now? Like, oh yeah, that guy actually kind of did some stuff. So it was fun. It's kind of cute, not super serious, but I liked it. And then yes, I did watch Top Gear. I've been watching Top Gear for pretty much like the last 2 weeks. They have the Clarkson era on there finally on Amazon, which is probably the best one. The other ones are not bad, they're just not great. So and then okay, so have you guys heard of Has Been Hotel? Have you guys ever heard of that?
The name, but I don't know what it is.
It's on Amazon. So it started out as this YouTube, not even YouTube, it started out as this like art project on DeviantArt, like back in the early 2000s, like 10s. And it's gotten traction from the animator, and she actually released a teaser for like what would happen if I put my characters into an animation type thing back in 2017. About 2 years later, she actually made a full pilot for the show and put it on YouTube. It got huge, and Amazon and A24 picked it up and like, hey, guess what? We have a full season of this show now. The spin-off series is also on YouTube. It's called Hell of a Boss. It's fantastic. And the first 4 seasons dropped on Amazon last Friday. The next 2 are going to be this Friday. and the
Seasons or
last 2
episodes?
Episodes, sorry.
I was like,
episodes.
holy cow,
Sorry.
they've been busy.
Well, no, that's the thing is that they're done with the first season. It was already greenlit for a second season before the first season ended production. Fantastic. I love the animation in this. I love the voice acting is so freaking good. Keith David has a song in there, and
my.
it is amazing. And the thing is, like, he doesn't really like say too much. He's like a background character. He's kind of like for slapstick. And then he comes out with this amazing sound or this amazing song, and there's so much character development. And I'm just like, Spawn is singing to me, and I love it. So, yeah, Has Been Hotel. Watch it. Listen to the soundtrack. It's great. I freaking love it. Yeah, that's all I got.
All you got? All right, I forgot to mention Terminal List season 2 is going to be a prequel.
Prequel?
Yeah. Not too surprising because I think Chris
Alright.
Pratt and Taylor Kitsch was probably the best part of that show. So I finished 2 series, Fargo season 5. A really good ending. John Hamm was a good menacing villain. It's got that Steve guy from Stranger Things. He played John Hamm's son.
Dude, John Hamm and Baby Driver is intimidating.
It is.
I like how you think it's Jamie Foxx is the bad guy, but then it's really John Hamm. who's the
Little
bad
old switcheroo.
guy. And Fargo, the ending was cool because like it resolved like the end right away. Like as the episode started and it just like resolved the ending. And then you get like this little like epilogue it was really like kind of cute. It was just like weird. They're like talking. This family just like brings in a kind of. He's not a serial killer, but he's got killer, and they just like have a conversation with him, and they like make him biscuits, and it was kind of cute. So
Killers and
then
cars getting coffee.
yeah. Then I watched the end of Reacher. That was a good ending as well. Lots of action. He fought a bunch of guys while he was handcuffed. It was kind of cool. He was like hanging out of a plane, holding onto a gurney, and some guy like stabbed him in the arm. So he got a knife sticking out of his arm, and he's
Having a rough day.
Yep. And then
I'm just not having a good day.
then they killed all the bad guys. And then they went to a diner and someone ordered Cocoa Pebbles and a chocolate shake. The only problem I had was there was this bad guy. And remember how I said he was like hanging on a plane? This stupid idiot, he thinks he's gonna like intimidate Reacher and like threaten him, like I'm gonna beat you up, but they're in a plane, so how could he even hear him? So that part kind of bothered me.
He's like, "What? Gonna beat you up?"
This like bad guy's monologuing, and he's like hanging out of a plane. He probably can't even hear what he's saying. Yeah, so that kind of
I can't hear you over this pain in my arm.
And then he goes out to Simple Man from Leonard Skinner and it just totally fit. What else? Oh, I watched the Equalizer 1 because I saw the other 2, but I've never seen the first
Skip
one.
the first one?
Oh.
And I can see why they got sequels because the first one's like the best one. It's really good.
Kind of like Taken.
Yeah. I like Taken 2, but Taken 3 is not good at all.
Those bazillion cuts.
Equalizer
where you get like the ADR of their voices driving and her grunting, and is that the one where she drives? And it's
I
just
think
like
that's
Liam Neeson's just like, look out over there. It's over here. Take a right. It's just
I
like
think
that's the second one.
it's the weirdest like voiceover after the fact that you're just like, why stop it? It's so awkward and unpleasant.
Yeah, so I think that's all I have. I'm probably just gonna start House of the Dragon now since I got those out of the way and there's not much to do. So I'll share my thoughts on that with you guys. I was watching some videos this guy did of like the last episodes of Game of Thrones and just how bad it was. He got especially mad that the main character dude just kind of let his dog go away
Oh yeah.
and didn't like say goodbye to it or anything.
There's like no real closure to that in the slightest. That's literally how the show begins, as they find all these pups.
Yeah, so it was pretty entertaining just seeing how out of character everyone was.
Okay, so I have bought every single Game of Thrones on Blu-ray, like every single season, except for the last season.
So it's like
I
you
will
took the
not-
last disc and went.
No, I will not buy that season. Like that is
My
that
favorite
season-
memory is Thomas used to go watch, like, he used to have a watch party for
Mhm.
Game of Thrones. And on the last episode, I was like, "So how was it?" And he didn't even talk. He just
I was so pissed.
went to his room.
I just went I went straight to my room. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, it's like those last like the first episodes were okay, and then it hits that one, and then I remember ending it, and Alex and I were like, "Was that not good? I don't think that was good." Then it continued the next week. We're like, "That was worse. How do we get to this? It's just crashing, it's crashing."
That was more.
Yeah, after
So
a specific episode in the last season, you're just like, oh no.
Dude, what now?
Yeah.
What did I do? Did we miss half a season in between this?
How did she do this?
And the whole thing with like the little assassin chick killing
Oh,
the
good
main evil in the world, and she had only like learned about him in like the
Yeah.
second episode or something. And then there's the dragon lady killing all the innocent people.
Yeah.
A literal character 180 in what, less than an episode?
It's like, you know what? No, I hate everybody.
I hate the world will burn under me. And
It's such a-
John's just like, oh no, I banged my aunt.
Oopsie.
Oopsie.
Honest mistake.
Oh, she's like, you'll love me or you'll die. He's just like,
Oh man. Let's stop talking about that.
Did I mention that I finished or caught up with Psalm 100 last week?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
No, did you?
You said you've been watching it, but then I don't know if I don't know.
We'll just assume I did.
I'm gonna catch up.
you have
and then
memories.
I'll catch up to it, and then we can talk
Okay.
about it together next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I keep forgetting to watch that. I keep forgetting it's on there.
All right. So, any last words, or are we gonna just put this one to bed?
It's gonna go Mimi's.
He's hungry for action.
yourself ahead and let it go to bed.
All right. So, like, subscribe, and notify yourselves for even more good stuff. And we will see you next time. Bye.
What the hell did you just say?
I don't
Michael?
know. It's like living poop.
What the
What?
fuck?
Hold on.
Ah!
I don't know what it was, man. It's gross. I didn't like it.
Oh,
It's just a wiggling, man.
why is he doing that?
I don't know. I don't like it.
What is it?
I don't
What
know.
is it? All right. Bonus stuff. Record.